Hi folks, welcome to another video on CodeTutor. In the previous video, we have seen how the dark software factory paradigm works, how a company called StrongDM has actually tried implementing it and how it actually looks like. But what they have built is not very easy to build for everybody. When I say everybody, I am talking about the people and also for the organizations. Let's try to understand why. So let's unpack it. Folks, co-tutor here and my name is Anil Deshpande. If you are wondering, whatever the digital twin universe scenarios and specs and agents orchestration that we were talking about can be replicated in any organization, let's have a look at how they have been able to implement. One of the important statement one of the engineers makes in an article is, if you are not burning $1,000 worth of tokens per engineer per day, then you are not burning enough and your workflow of software dark factory has a scope to improve. Just let that number sink in. $1,000 of tokens per engineer per day. How many engineers are there in the strong DM? When I just went through the structure and the number of people that they have, it's almost 150 to 200 people team. I might be wrong as well, and the actual engineers might be somewhere around 50 or 80,000 tokens burning per day looks highly costly. And even this approach that they are talking about is actually used by 3 people. So it is a R&D experiment, not the whole organizational approach. If a whole organization starts burning $1,000 of tokens per day per developer, they will bankrupt themselves. This is not about just the cost. It has more dimensions associated with it. Today, most of the engineers, that is software developers, are basically made to focus on writing the code. They are actually compensated on writing better code. So the whole idea behind current way of working is writing the code, writing better code, better quality code, delivering the better quality code, and reviewing the code in such a manner that nothing wrong gets seeped through. And this is why the skill sets of the developers are also very much attuned to the parameters that I am talking about, which is writing the code. But dark factory completely flips it around. You are not writing the code, humans are not writing the code. Then what is the expectation of the skill that we have here? You are writing specifications, detailed specifications which agent can understand and build. You are writing scenarios which are very easily verifiable. So in this case, it is about spec writing, scenario engineering, behavioral system thinking, simulation engineering, simulation infrastructure building, scenario validation engineering, probabilistic validation engineering. Can you just hear the terms, how completely different they look in terms of the skills that I am naming here? These skills are not very easily available in the current pool of software engineers, because software engineers are not actually trained for these kind of skills, not yet at least. But if you want to have a dark software factory, these are the skills that will be required. So there needs to be a complete reskilling of the people on these aspects. The earlier skills that were useful will not be useful with this way of working. So we are basically moving from code authorship to meta system design. To give you an analogy, if currently we think of software developers as, say, bricklayers, what software dark factory expects is city planners. That's a different completely paradigm shift. But let's assume that the people are able to somehow skill themselves. Engineers are going to learn and they are going to skill themselves with these new skill sets. But there are organizational barriers as well. What do I mean by organizational barrier? Right now, the organizational setup itself is not very conducive for dark software factory paradigm. You need to have simulation environments. You need to have a digital infrastructure to maintain the specs. You have to have a digital infrastructure to maintain the scenarios. You have to have a mechanism where as the code is getting developed, as it evolves, and as the understanding of the scenarios and specs evolves, if you change the spec, something in the scenarios will have to be automatically be updated, and they should be easily tracked and updated such that there is absolutely no scope for any slipping of the information, because if it happens, agents will completely wreak havoc with what they are going to come up with. Do we have that kind of infrastructure right now? We still work with very old ADO Jira way of writing the specs, unit test cases, and mapping the test cases to the PRDs and all of that. And how up to date they are, we know. I don't have to answer all that. We have seen scenarios where the code does something completely else than what actually is written in the documentation. And if you try to question it, you will get to hear that no, that was the earlier expected behavior, but then as we started building it, we thought that this is a better way to build it, and we actually built it in this way. But it's only there in the code, it's not there anywhere documented. Most of it is even tribal knowledge, and this tribal knowledge will not help the agent. Then you need scenario libraries, you need behavior validation libraries, you need DTUs, that is digital twin universe, because you need to completely simulate Ukta, GitHub, or any kind of services that you want to test your agents with. Because as I said earlier, you will hit the rate limit wall very quickly, because the rate at which the agents will start running the behavioral tests. And more than that, it completely requires a cultural shift. You need a culture in the organization where culture trusts the AI driven outcomes. But that confidence can only come only if you have that kind of infrastructure built where agent and agentic way of working works seamlessly. Otherwise, there can't be any trust there. So all the traditional CI/CD pipelines, test frameworks, test suites, human reviews, code reviews that are right now deeply embedded in how software organizations work will not be valid anymore. You may say that this is not a big deal, we will be able to achieve this in a couple of years. But pivoting the organization, large organization, for this new way of working is not very easy. It is like trying to move a ship. Until and unless it comes from the top down, where organizations decide that this is the route that they want to take. That basically means building completely new set of infrastructure, investing in that particular infrastructure, knowing fully well it will not be able to pay immediate dividends. It's a long-term investment that they will have to do, and then they will have to even reskill the workforce. So what do we do then? I think at least we can start doing a couple of things. People can start developing skills that I was talking about, which are not traditionally taught or talked about in the engineering schools. And what about the organizations? They will have to start building scenario based validation tools, libraries. You have to invest in simulation environments. You have to train the engineers in the process of how to do a behavioral driven design. And you will have to come up with writing feedback loops and infrastructure that will help you to orchestrate the agents so that the so-called software factory concept actually works. So you need to invest in that kind of infrastructure as well. So in the nutshell, if organizations think that I'm going to give tokens to my developers, I will enable Copilot, I will give Windsurf to 300 software developers, and now they are AI enabled. Now I should be able to see better efficiency and better delivery, because now we are AI enabled organization. It is not going to work out. It is definitely going to fail. What we really need is, one, the shift in the culture of the organization and the way the infrastructure is set up in the organization, and then the way people think about the software engineering itself. Because future of software engineering is not no engineers. It is engineers who will redefine what work will be done, how it will be done, and will operate at a much different level. And that requires a completely different cultural and mindset shift. Engineers will basically define the intent, and model will write the code. Engineers will validate the behavior but will not even look at the code. And that's a completely new craft itself. So as usual, I would be interested in hearing your comments about this. There are a lot of things which I have not talked about because the video would have got really long. I will be writing completely detailed articles with much more depth in my CodeTutor Hub articles section, and I will be posting about it for sure. So do check out those articles because those will be having much more detailed drill down of some of the things that I have talked about in these series. So stay tuned. We will meet in another video. Thanks. That brings us to the end of this particular video. Don't forget to like, comment, share the video and subscribe to the channel. Take care. Bye.